Welcome everybody here, Brady from BGWX. We are live breaking down the snowstorm we got coming here tomorrow night into Sunday, and we will also be breaking down the active array of storms coming next week as well. We have a lot to talk about again, and I'm assuming we are going to continue to going forward here. So appreciate everybody coming on in, whether you're rewatching or just coming in right now, and we're getting set up right here and about to get started. So let's have a blast here. Friday night vibes, all-time high when we get a chance. Listen, those, as I just posted out, night before the snowstorm vibes are always greater. So should be a fun one tomorrow for many. And let's get set up here. Let's get the chat going here. Alrighty, how we doing, everybody? Twisted, how we doing? Michael Phillips, how are you doing as well? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. How we doing, people? Let's get the chat going here. Ethan, how you doing? Soar, how we doing, my man? Seen some of your loving to see loving some of your content. You're clearly loving the winter time. So glad to see some of your content, Soar. Always love seeing the younger, our high school kids on here, ones that are quickly learning and developing, and love getting better. And just enjoy it. It's clear you got a passion, so love seeing your content. Yeah, of course, Sor. Dominic Fator? Yee, gang. What up, Dominic? How we doing? All right, got our thumbnail set up here. Jonah W. Fuller, how we doing? How are we doing? All right. Oh, you know it, Wacky. It's gonna be it's probably has a good shot at being a pretty fun storm. Loving the trends we're seeing on models. Loving the trends we're seeing. Oh, gotta sign in again. Let's do it again. Where is everybody from right now? Where is everybody from? Put again in the chat. Where are you at right now? Where are you watching from? It's like NYC, Southern Jersey, maybe missed in all directions. I don't know, Timmy. Looks like a Eastern PA snowstorm. Right now. What time is it for you right now? It is currently 12:02 a.m. Northwest Connecticut. Shout out Northwest Connecticut. Great spot for snowstorms always. New Haven. Shout out New Haven. Love it. New Haven. I will proudly say New Haven is the pizza capital of the country. I have yet to have a better pizza spot than New Haven. For me personally, Sally's a pizza. A Beats, right? A Beats. That's how you say it. Sally's Pizza. Best I've ever had. Greg, how are we doing? Yep, Webster, Mass. Right down the road. Morris County, New Jersey. Shout out. Shout out our North Jersey folks. 1203. Yes, 1203 for me. Shout out Southwest Virginia. Hell yeah. Yes, New Haven, definitely. Frank Pepe is also very good down there. Love going to Frank Pepe's. Anytime I go to Mohegan Sun, I'm always going to Frank Pepe's. So it's a treat. So yeah, love it down there. Get started here in a second. Hoping to cash in on ratios where I'm at. Perfect spot. Yeah, Northwest Connecticut, I think, will be in a decent spot. I'm going to have quite a sleep burst tomorrow with that 850 F-Gen bin. Where are you at again, Tim? Oh, Brooklyn, New York. Ooh, that's going to be such a close call. We're going to get into it. Modern. I need to go to Modern. I have yet to go to Modern. The Sally's is so big ever since the Portnoy videos too now. Ever since the Portnoy videos, man, those have really we'll turn down the volume to the Eye of the Tiger remix. We'll let it play out, but man, the line that I had to go to when I went to Sally's was ridiculous. It's like a weeknight in the summertime. It was like an hour wait. It's incredible. These models are making me nervous for Staten Island. Whatever happens, happens. You'll be fine. Sleet City, PA. Yeah, I definitely listen. I told you guys, was it last night or the night before? I'm definitely concerned with the Sleet Fest, the Sleet Fest, and the freezing rain threat that's going to happen in Southeast PA, Maryland, South Jersey, Delmarva. I'm definitely concerned about that. So we're definitely going to talk about that for sure. Definitely have some concerns there. What's happening with the GFS? I don't know. Nothing too crazy. We're in an active pattern. I think mid-level dry air causes a bust. I don't think this. It depends on what the expectations are for you with this storm, but no, we're gonna let's break it down now. We definitely have a lot of questions for me. So me when the storm hits, hell yeah, for sure, brother. At least very heavy sleet is fun, I guess. Remember, hey, if you do see sleet, don't stop measuring. Don't stop measuring if you get sleet because it does count for you. A lot of people just stop measuring and whenever it switches to sleet. So what happens a lot of times, the sleet compacts the snow, but if you get a lot of it, it can very much accumulate. Like you can start accumulating sometimes a quarter inch plus per hour of sleet sometimes. So, make sure you still measure the sleet and you can count it. Your snow rates in Connecticut from like 8 p.m. to midnight. Yep. We're gonna go into all that. We're definitely gonna go into that, Richard. Appreciate you entertaining my New Haven pizza thoughts. You think Morris County has mixing issues? Praying not. It's gonna be a close call, man, up there. It might be a close call. So we're gonna break it. We're gonna break it all down. Actually, I want to search up my Jersey counties again. Just New Jersey counties. I like to refresh my memory with I like refreshing my memory. Yeah, Morris County. Yep. Sussex. Yeah, Bergen County. Yep. Essex Union. Okay. Yeah. I just like refreshing myself every once in a while. Okay. Let's get into it. We'll keep some non-copyright music going in the background here, and then let's dive into this. All right. So with this system here, what we got going on, remember, is, or let's just, we broke it down clearly. Let's go right into trends, what's been happening. Yeah, New York City is going to be a close call. What we've seen over today is, in trend, we'll just go straight to the QPF. A lot of you, I'm pretty sure, are familiar with the general setup. We're breaking down with strong upper level energy piece, but again, still a little bit of a progressive flow. And the pen tool. In this convection, you can see gets out ahead in front. You can see it right now over the US. You see how that gets out ahead, out in front, where the pen tool's coming up in a second. And so we're amplifying. This is a strengthening upper level low. It's a strengthening low pressure system despite the progressive flow. And this is going to be dropping southeast. Just the way the nature it's being pressed on, we'll have high pressure to the north. So that cold air, plenty of cold air out ahead. Cold air is not the issue with this, at least not at the surface. Plenty of cold air to work with this system. In fact, it's going to be very high ratio snow for many. And with this system here, what we're going to see here is front end thump, and then for others, completely snow. That's what we're looking at here. But the interesting thing that's been happening here, and you can look at the GFS, for example. We play this out here. Look what's been happening here. We'll play the GIF out hour by hour. Look here. So you can see what's happening. Take a look what we've been doing here with the QPF. So really just a windshield wiper effect. It's really not that different from a couple days ago, to be honest. Just windshield wipering back, the QPF back. After models suggesting we were going to be more like, you know, zero point 0.4 to 0.7, it looks like models are trending more now towards, more of a 0.5 to 0.8 inches. So we're adding another a tenth to 2/10 of an inch of QPF. And that's allowing maybe us to potentially get back into those higher ceiling scenarios again, to put them maybe back on the table. Again, I have not wavered my thoughts. Like the same thoughts that I had a few days ago. Yes, Gerald and I will definitely be going live again at some point, probably next week if I had to guess. But it is history. So, but what we've been doing here is we've been continuing to increase the QPF again. So if you're even this is an inch of QPF out here, you notice. So we're talking on the GFS specifically. Now, I'd be a little skeptical that we get an inch of QPF out of the system just due to the progressive nature still of the flow. But we're talking widespread area of a half inch to an inch of QPF here. This really allows for more than this is when we start talking maybe there's some double digit potential in there. I'm still not quite 100%. I want to get a little bit closer. I want to do some more analysis tonight. I am either going to put the snow map out tomorrow. I know I am pushing it late, or late tonight. Undecided. Depends on depends on what I feel. I know it's a little bit of a cheap move to do it so close to the storm, but again, I only like to put out one map, and you got to remember, I put out a lot of precision into these maps as well. I put a lot of precision. It doesn't mean they're great, they're perfect, but it takes me like hours to put my snow maps together because I'm very, very trying to be as precise as possible in every detail, even though I know I'm going to be wrong. So, that is a little bit interesting there. Or sorry, this whole storm is interesting, but that is just a little insight is what I meant to say, not interesting. So yes, so you can see that's where we're trending. You can see it. Pull up the NAM model. You want a mesoscale model, the NAM model. You can see, look at that. And again, half inch to an inch of QPF as well now. So now if we start trending towards this, if we're going to put a half inch to an inch of QPF over this area now we start talking about that potential. And we are going to talk about, yes, I know some people talking about the dendritic growth zone usually doesn't get talked about that much. And so it's kind of exciting to see all this discussion about the dendritic growth zone now, which is, fun for me. But a lot of people also, kind of just mention it. But you got to really understand. Luckily for me, listen, I'm not an expert, but I definitely know the dendritic growth zone pretty well in terms of how to use it to forecast against and for, whether or not there's going to be, a good amount of snow. So I really utilize the dendritic growth zone. We're starting to get into pretty close range here now where the models can kind of complete their runs and get a little bit better idea. But if you're going to change, I mean, here's the thing, your dendritic growth zone profile, just a little sketchy. Your dendritic growth zone profile is definitely going to change if you're struggling. So this is what I'm talking about. Some of these model runs here, if you're going to go from 0.3 inches of QPF to 0.9, 0.8 inches of QPF in some areas, that is going to completely change the orientation, of this. That is completely going to change it. Like it changes the setup, it changes your column, like it's different things. Your sounding profiles are going to be different. So, all these, it's model noise, but they're significant, those significant run-to-run changes here, they're allowing for different, soundings to be taken. So I would use a little bit of caution in too much, and you kind of be able to take a general idea, maybe not necessarily cherry pick one model for soundings, and try to get a general idea throughout all of them. Now, here's one thing I will say. A lot with this storm also will be, and we're going to talk about the specifics in a second for who's going to see snow, rain. What are my thoughts on that? Relay it. This is going to be low level, mid level driven in terms of lift here significantly. So look at the 700 dynamics we're starting to see now, especially on the NAM. Even take a look here, 18Z, 12Z. Look at the difference. like that you're changing the synoptic setup itself. Now, it's just model noise. Again, we haven't changed our thoughts that much, but look at the mid-level lift now. Significant band, like that double maxima area that we're talking about. This whole, well, for 3 days now, talking about this double maximum area right in here. And you may be able to fluff factor it out here in the Berk, so might throw them in there. Although I do have some concerns for this area, in terms of the and based on some of the soundings, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then you can see here the 700 really gets going, and you can take a look at 850 as well. I mean, 850 is juiced, man. We're a juice at 850. Look at that 850, man. It's gonna absolutely rip here in across, Northeast PA, Hudson Valley, Southern New England. Excuse me. It's gonna absolutely rip. I'm going to be talking 1 to 2 inch per hour rates, easy, easy, easy with this potentially. Maybe wouldn't shock me if there were even 3 inch per hour rates based on the way we're trending to, with more tighter consolidated energy profile. Again, here what we're seeing that could really allow for this to get going. Let's see, we get that much in QPF in Southern Vermont. It's going to be huge. Yeah, listen, I've been saying with the interior, I have not been concerned this entire time. I think this whole area out here is a lock. It's going to be expansive precip shield. It's going to be a lock for 3 to 6 plus out here, in my opinion. It's going to take very little QPF to be able to do it. And you're going to be actually, especially eastern parts here, you're going to be pretty well saturated here in the interior. So I'm not too concerned about you guys being able to make out all right out there. Yes, we will go over Tuesday, Wednesday, Alex. We will go over that. There's a lot of model noise right now for that, but yes, we will go over that. First priorities first, the snowstorm coming tomorrow. And so, obviously we watch what happens. 700 gets going, and then boom. Warm air comes in behind it, sleet mix, all the fun stuff. It turns into a slot fest and even pushes it pretty far into this one. It even gets it into, southern Connecticut here, the warm nose on this run, as you can see on the NAM. And I'm not going to underestimate the warm nose here. I think this could be maybe overdoing it a little bit, maybe, but I'm not going to underestimate it here. It's not the same setup as last storm. So it's not, it is like a lot of people are going to say, it's blah, 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 last storm. It's a new storm. There are some similarities to the setup, but it's not the same upper level energy profile, orientation. It is just not even quite close to the same storm. I mean, we're going to be having a transfer here, and there's different elements at play here with this system. But it is another, warm nose event here, where initially that primary gets going, like we've talked about. Once that happens, you can see places, up here almost into the New York border here are sleeting, and meanwhile the tip of Cape Cod is snow. So this is what happens here. You get the transfer, your cold air comes in aloft above the surface, and it helps make sure that warm nose, kind of prevents it from being able to, impinge too far. And that allows us to say snow for pretty much most of southern New England for the duration of the event. But even if you had a warm nose solution here, let's go to the NAM 3K and kind of highlight that there. You're still going to be able to get a front end thump a little bit in New York City. Now, this would be much more limited, and you'd accumulate some sleet as well on this. I think it probably is going to be a bit of a sleet fest in New York City if I had to guess right now. So be ready to still measure that. But what you would get here is you would get a front end thump here, North Jersey. You'd get a front end thump here, North Jersey, Lower Hudson Valley, Long Island, all get a front end thump, and then you'd switch quickly over to mix. So you'd still at least get 1 to 3 inches probably, and you would and then you'd mix over. You'd thump, you get all excited for a second there, and then but the sleet line would definitely be able to come right behind it. It's definitely a concern with New York City, so it's going to be a close call for the city. High rates when the timing is tomorrow night for the heaviest rates for sure. Tomorrow night, overnight, tomorrow night is the timing for the heaviest rates. And then as we can see here, it pushes in. So we can go back to, so it's a little less blotchy. So when 700 gets going here, use 850. Watch what happens here, right? As our 850, right? There's your front end thump. No, go back. And this pushes then into southern New England then. So this starts organizing more. And as this organizes, it's continuing to push north. So now, you know, you're thumping all across here right now. And you're going to switch quickly over, but, you know, all these areas then thump right over Long Island. Long Island, I'm still very confident Long Island's going to be able to get a front end thump out of this regardless. I like Long Island more than New York City, to be honest, with this. And so that's what, I think Long Island is going to be 1 to 3, 3 to 6 right now. That's kind of where I lean, undecided where I'm going to go quite yet. Listen, you got to make a call. I'm going to have to make a call, and that's the reality. I'm still torn a little bit. Still torn. I don't see this being, but I'm not torn on this whether or not it's going to be all snow. It's not going to be all snow. New York City, Long Island, in North Jersey, I think even much of PA, really besides far northeastern PA, you're going to see a sleet fest at some point with this. So, but as you can see, 850 organizes here, and then you start thumping. You start thumping away here across southern New England, absolutely ripping 1-2+ inch per hour rates at this point. Late Saturday night into early Sunday morning, and that's where this thing really is going to produce, have some punch to it, as you can see. When those heaviest rates move through, you can line it up here. 700 ECS, boom, 700 organized as well, and that will start to stack more with 850 as it moves offshore. So, but remember the progressive nature, so it starts sliding out. So this isn't going to be able to really spin up and consolidate until it gets way further northeast, up by Newfoundland. That's where this thing really pops off at. Gone. Oops. What we got, Jimmy? We trying to ask a question? So that's that. This is the general breakdown with this. Again, my same thoughts remain in place. Again, if I were to up it, it would be more of a 6 to 12. But I really think it's a double maxima is what I'm going. That's what I'm continuing to go with here. Really, especially Catskills 5 to 10, and then right in here probably is. So where I say double maxima of 5 to 10 plus. That's where I'm continuing to go. Front end thump, pretty potent front end thump, where maybe where we were talking about 3 to 6 plus here for the front end thump, and then it's maybe like a 1 to 3 to that as well. It's going to be it will be a tight gradient. I really do think. I just accidentally typed it. No, you're fine. It's all right. You're being interactive. It's your natural curiosity. Usually Jersey north of I-78 is the snow zone. What are the liquid amounts for this one? I think we showed that, right? About a half inch to an inch of QPF on the OZ guidance so far. We'll see what the Euro did here in a second. Let's see what other questions we got. Sleet sucks. Yeah. At least very heavy sleet is fun, better than cold rain. I will take sleet any day of the week over cold rain for sure. No need to melt the snowpack for sure. Yeah, we got some GM, some GM weather profiles in here. It's awesome. Had a couple of those BGWX profiles one day. There were more bots than anything else, but glad to see the support you guys got for Gerald there. That was the life is a highway. Okay, let me go. Let's take a peek at the Euro here. The Euro had a little bit less QPF, so we'll see what See what it did here at OZ. Oh, it's still must be delayed. It's delayed. That's fine. Let's peep the Jeffs here. Now with the ensembles, you got to remember it's you can only do too much, but the Jeffs have been consistent in terms of QPF. The average mean on the Jeffs has been has been rather impressive. Peep that. Yeah, I mean, very impressive. I mean, some showing over a half inch of QPF in 6 hours. Dump. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, look at it. The Jeffs are amped up, man. 0.8 points. They are amped up. And there's a whole area here. Look at this. This is all 0.6 to 0.8 inch QPF right there. HRR for tomorrow. I don't know. I really have long range HRR. HRR won't really not even until tomorrow. And then even then, it's like you can only take so much from the HRR. It's just not going to accurately depict it. It's just not. That's not the HRR strong suit here. Sunday power day should be fun. Yeah, powder day. Yes. Yep, and that's the thing too. Remember, it's a lighter snow, so we'll talk about the DGZ and some concerns that people have there in a second. But it is going to be a lighter, powdery snow for many in the interior too. Really, all up in here, it's going to be powder. Even for those that get front end thumped here, it should be powder. It will be more powdery. You can see that where I drew that in here. That's where your powder is going to be for this system. Your more powdery snow be a little bit wetter down here, but it's not gonna be a wet snow, so to say. Maybe not till maybe later in the event for coastal places. All right, we've had a lot of questions, so we'll look at some soundings here, and I'll give kind of my thoughts. I did some deep diving into some of the OZ soundings earlier. We'll break it down. William, I listen to you all the time and don't know why Southern New England still has a watch going on the National Weather Service. Yeah, I try not to diss them too much, but I don't know how you can. I don't understand why your forecast is 8 to 12 inches widespread, and you're debating a winter storm warning. That really doesn't make too much sense. Either lower your totals for it or put the warning up. That really makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So I can't really. I appreciate the support, William. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what their thought process is behind that either, to be honest. It's not. It's regardless of disagree or agree. It's either just make sure you put your thought should align with that. Your winter storm watch says 6 to 9 inches. That's clearly good enough for a winter storm warning. I mean, is it criteria? I don't think it's going to be a problem for people to see 6 inches in 12 hours with this storm based on your forecast. Or 8 inches in 24 hours. That's the criteria. So, but yeah, let's peep some soundings here. So first, when that front end thump comes in, man, boy, do I keep going back and forth here. It's going to be, right, that comes together and go New York City. Give me North Jersey. There we go. So yeah, so this is a very heavy snow. This is just north. Sorry, this is as close as I'm getting to New York City here. But there's your warm nose holding off, and here, especially in the beginning of the storm, very well saturated, very top. That your dew point depression there is, it's like a degree or less. Whatever. It's very, very minimal. Degrees Celsius. So you can see here, here's your denser growth zone, still pretty high up in the atmosphere. Again, it has to do with that warm nose really, really kicking. But you can see it come back. There's your CAD signature at the surface that allows low-level cold air in place here. So this is Connecticut, New York, but by the tri-state border here. And so look at this. We have plenty of lift here present. Again, top of the DGZ, not a ridiculous amount, but you can see loaded here through, from about 550 down, into the lower levels of the atmosphere. -1, -2 omega here present. In the DGZ as well, you have, about -1 omega. So absolutely, thumping, inch per hour rates right there. Easily your warm nose. This would be snow. Dynamic cooling here, for sure. This would definitely be this would be heavy snow in this sounding here. So you get a brief period of heavy snow at least. I'll go to North Jersey. So another example. See your lift here in the DGZ, definitely present right here. Well saturated, not perfectly, plenty well saturated here, in your stealth thumping. So far North Jersey, and you've already had a band come through as well. Definitely a sounding, for 3/4 of an inch per hour rates. See, it didn't take it. Doesn't want to take it. Northeast PA, oh, it doesn't like this hour. Sorry. The 1 hour you're seeing snow, it doesn't like it. Sorry. New York City. High end, low end map went up as of 10 minutes ago. The forecast didn't change. Interesting. Let's see, Connecticut. Remember, as we're taking here, we're organizing. So this is a fantastic sounding here. And here in southeastern Connecticut, well saturated here through the dendritic growth zone. Again, not perfect, but we're well saturated from the bottom. It's at the bottom of the DGZ down to the surface. Again, they were just much better. We're just nearly 100% saturated. We're well saturated enough here at the top of the dendritic growth zone. Again, we're still in the beginning part of the storm. We'll talk about the second half of the storm. What people are a little concerned with. Southbridge and Sturbridge area, at 5 to 10 plus, easy in my opinion. Right now, it's never easy, but I would say like a floor of 4 to 8 there, and forecast 5 to 10, and my higher end forecast would be more of a 6 to 12 plus then. But again, you can see here over -1 omega in the dendritic growth zone here. I mean, this definitely 1 to 2 inch per hour rates here. Warm nose, not even close here. Obviously, you're in southeast Connecticut at this point. You can see the warm nose, but very much holding off. And you're thumping heavy snow at that point, right? There's no, I mean, once you get in it, it is going to really take off. Hudson Valley for any of my folks. Another error. There we go, Hudson Valley. Oh, look at that. Beautiful sounding there. You can see warm nose just pressing up against. So you maybe have a sleet pellet or two mixing in here, but this is heavy snow sounding all day. Super well saturated here in your dendritic growth zone. Even at the top, very minor dew point depression there, and then very well saturated. You're completely saturated, basically, almost from the middle of your dendritic growth zone down here. Again, we look at -20 to -10 here in the dendritic growth zone. You have nearly -2 omega all around the dendritic growth zone too, which is fantastic. And you can see here we have, look at our 160 knot, plenty through plenty. It's just 200 to 850 millibar winch here. Very supportive. Typically once you start getting 100 knots and above, that's very supportive to be able to get, help create the lift necessary for heavy snow. As I posted that 250 millibar jet earlier. And again, your warm nose gets close here, but this is all snow pretty much. This is heavy snow, easy 1 to 2 inch per hour rates at that point. Love the lift we're getting here in the dendritic growth zone. And you're pretty well saturated at that point. And then, as you can see, listen, we're just going to keep going through these soundings here for pretty much everybody, for pretty much every here. Ceiling on Staten Island, I'd say about 3 to 6 right now is what I would say on Staten Island is kind of the ceiling. Let's go. We had a Northwest Connecticut request. You can see here. Oh, that's probably the best sounding of the night I've pulled. Easy. Look at that. This might be 2-3 inch per hour rates right here. Look at that. You're above -2 omega here, all the way through the dendritic growth zone. Your base almost completely saturated from the top down here. The only thing is your dendritic growth zone is a little high in the column here. So, but you do stay pretty cold consistently, even though that warm nose does approach a little bit, 24 at the surface. So this is a one where I'd be like, I would like to see the dendritic growth zone a little bit lower in the atmosphere to be able to get even higher ratios. But with how well saturated you are and how much lift you have in the dendritic growth zone, that's oftentimes, listen, that's very important along with where it is in the column as well. Those two factors go hand in hand. So this would definitely be over 10-to-1 ratio snow here just because of how, just the banding you're in at that point. And again, you can start to see it expand here. I mean, just that's a gorgeous that's a gorgeous heavy snow sound. I mean, beautiful heavy snow sounding right there. Not too far away from our man in where Greg Miller was in Southbridge, our man in Sturbridge, me almost in Grafton. So not too far away here. I mean, take a look. Basically, completely saturated from the top of the dendritic growth zone all the way down to the surface. I mean, that's a gorgeous right there, 5 to 600 millibars, your dendritic growth zone, which is about average. And then, I mean, -2, even -3 omega here in your dendritic growth zone. I mean, this is ripping 1 to 3 inch per hour rates at that point. I mean, very heavy snow. And then you can see as the band starts moving through, your heavy, I mean, it is going to rip there for at least, 2 to 4 hours for many people where it's going to rip heavy snow in. This is another thing too. Regardless of what happens on the backside here, once we're going to pull some soundings, I'm going to give my thoughts. This is definitely a part of the storm here, a duration. So this matters. And we're going to talk about that. But with this, I mean, think about, I mean, some of these places here ripping 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, if you're in 4 hours of heavy snow of 1 to 3 inch per hour rates, it just stacks up. If you're inch per hour for 4 hours, you already got 4 inches. And at that point now, if not now, it's not going to take too much to add a couple more inches onto that to get the 6 inches. And boom, now you hit your, you've hit your forecast. You're in the range very easily. And then all of a sudden now if you have a couple hours of 2 inch per hour rates, and then you have inch per hour rates for 2 other hours, now all of a sudden you've gotten 6 inches of snow in those 4 hours. And now it doesn't take too much to get 2 or 3 more inches of snow, and all of a sudden you've got 10 or 11 inches of snow. Or did I do that? Or you got 8 or 9 inches of snow. Sorry, 8 to 10, whatever. So and then now you're hitting the higher end range, of the forecast kind of. So it's not, this is what I'm talking about. There are some really good soundings here for very heavy snow to take place. I mean, we'll take another. No more errors. Just take the snout in. Thank you. Here's actually not as great, even though it says very heavy snow. Um, pretty well saturated. I mean, we do get a bunch of errors, so I'm not sure if it's with it trying to show very heavy snow and not. But again, this would still be a good snow sounding here, pretty well saturated, but not as much lift present in the dendritic growth zone there. But so maybe you just got to go with tick north. And yeah, I mean it's right there. That might just be a model mesoscale thing. I don't know in a specific area, but you can see the same frame here. I mean, this is gorgeous, super well saturated. Again, just continuing. I mean, this is over -2 omega right in the dendritic growth zone here. Again, your snowflake production zone. That's what happens here. You're creating your snowflakes here from the top of your dendritic growth zone. What that allows to happen is throughout the column here, you need supportive conditions here where your snowflake production zone is throughout this part of the column of the atmosphere. And if you don't have those, then that's not supportive for good ratios. This sounding here is very supportive for good ratios here. This is a northern mass sounding here. Your DGZs from about 5 to 600 or 5 to 560, and then you stay, not even the warm nose even really present there. You stay pretty cold all the way throughout the column as well. That's definitely really good high ratio snow right there. High and low end map went up as of 10 minutes ago for NWS Boston. I think NWS waiting for more data. Definitely odd though. Yeah, I couldn't really tell you, why they don't have warnings up, even though their forecast is calling for, like a widespread like 6 to 10 inches. How about southern Vermont around the mountains? It's going to be a pretty good lift, I believe. Yeah, very solid. You're still going to be well saturated. That's one of the things I'm seeing on soundings I pulled earlier. You're still going to be pretty well saturated into the interior. Some places might be even better in the dendritic growth zone. This is Those that's still 1 to 2 inch per hour rates because of the fluff factor you have here, of how much you're colder in the column here, and you have salt. Also, this is -2, -4. This is ripping. This is ripping in the mountains right now. Absolutely ripping. Right? Because think about it. Initially, that primary gets going here. The primary low, the initial banding here out here, continues to push northward here, and then a lot of it, the lower level, especially 850, really gets going. 700 takes a little while to redevelop and consolidate, but a lot of those good dynamics still continue to push forward north here, and they'll continue to make it out into the interior still, um, but better in this area here. All right, and then we had a lot of discussions here. Then we take a sounding, for example. Um, that is a fantastic sounding. That's a heavy that's a heavy snow sounding right there. That is, you're completely saturated from the dendritic growth zone, the whole dendritic growth zone down to the surface. That's you're ripping snow at that point. You're ripping heavy snow. That's a gorgeous sounding. Move on here. All right, this is what kind of people are talking about now. You see, you're starting to see a little bit now. Once we move into the second duration, 5 to 600 millibars, you're starting to see a little bit of dryness. But here on the sounding, I would still favor this. You're still going to be able to accumulate snow. I don't really like the specifically this area is not having, a good amount of lift present in the dendritic growth zone at this time. But what you're able to do here still is you're still very well saturated. Your dew point depression here is still is still relatively minor. It's still within typically as long as you're at least within 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. Um, typical better to be within a couple degrees Celsius, but um, you're still going to be able to have pretty solid accumulation there. So this is like after it's still moving through. You don't need to be completely 100% saturated. So take another sounding. This a little bit greater, and not actually a great lift here. So this wouldn't be a great snow sounding itself, but you are still snowing. Are a little bit greater of a dew point depression here, meaning that dew point line is farther from the temperature line. But you're still snowing decently. But again, you're not going to be snowing, major. The heavy snow in the forecast really gets focused. The heavy snow in this forecast, again, remember, is still this event. If this was going to be snowing, ripping heavy snow this whole time, we'd be talking about a blockbuster snowstorm here. We'd be talking about a widespread 12 to 18 inches if we were going to be ripping like we were the whole time. And it's not that kind of storm. No shore sounding here. Top of the dendritic growth zone, not well saturated. Better lift at the bottom of the dendritic growth zone. Here present. Still, that's probably still like moderate snow falling still at that point. Maybe not great snowfall ratios, but still enough to keep accumulating. Again, after this moves through here, we're not going to be talking about significant snowfall rates. That's probably we're talking more quarter to half inch per hour rates at this point throughout the duration of the storm. So after the bulk of it moves through, it's 5 to 8 hours or so at least of lighter more moderate snow that moves through. The bulk of the storm, this is the heaviest part of the storm. There's no concern here with the soundings. I mean, even here, it's a minor dew point depression at the top of your dendritic growth zone. Would I prefer this to be more saturated? Absolutely. Actually, this is like the worst sounding I think I've taken too out of all of these in the heavier snow here in northeastern Connecticut at this point. Still have -1, -2 omega in the dendritic growth zone, and you get very well saturated at the bottom of your dendritic growth zone down to the surface. Error. Stop taking errors. Again, very well saturated in that one. Very well set. I mean, thumping snow at that point. In southeastern Mass, almost by the Cape at that point. So, I'm not super concerned, about a lot of these soundings. I mean, take a look. I mean, yeah, absolutely thumping snow here. Thumping snow at this point. Very well saturated. Your dendritic growth zone. Don't like the minor dew point depression at the bottom, but for the most part here, you're very well saturated all the way from the top of your dendritic growth zone, above the dendritic growth zone here on this sounding, down to the surface, and you're at -2 omega through the dendritic growth zone. That's something you got to remember here. If you are going to have supportive lift in and around the dendritic growth zone, that can make up some here for a little bit of lack of saturation. Remember, it all go hand in hand. The when you're looking at soundings here for the dendritic growth zone, they all play a part hand in hand. The amount of lift present, how well saturated we are in the dendritic growth zone, how well saturated we are below the dendritic growth zone. Even sometimes, it's not as important, in my opinion, how well saturated you are above the dendritic growth zone can play a factor as well at some point. Again, how much lift, not just in the dendritic growth zone, but around the dendritic growth zone as well. And then your temperature in the column as well. All these different things play a factor, and you don't need all of them to be perfect. If all of them were perfect, we'd be talking about extreme snowfall rates. We'd be talking about 3, 4, 5 inch per hour snowfall rates. And we'd be talking about a significant snowstorm. A major, where this is a significant, but we'd be talking about an all-out major snowstorm. So you got to remember, a lot of people mention it, but you got to well, I guess that's what I try to do is, explain it to help, show what we're looking at here on the sounding and try to, clear it up. Especially for the beginning of the storm here, I am, pretty much 0% concerned. Basically until about through like 2, 3 a.m., I am not concerned whatsoever about how well saturated you are across southern New England here. Yes, we'll look at the Euro in a second. What do we have? Our man Twisted. He was begging me to take a sounding here. There you go. There's a good thump in there. There you go. Pretty strong warm nose still, but that will play inch per hour rates out there in Eastern PA. But it doesn't last too long. You only get 2-3 hours maybe. Still thumping away here. Still thumping. Half inch per hour rates here. Still thumping, but warm nose, living a dangerous little life you're living there at that point. So, maybe you can get 3-4 hours of the snow, and you'll see maybe you can get enough dynamic cooling. So this is a storm where dynamic cooling, I think, will play more of a factor. Radar didn't really fill in enough for enough people. You did see dynamic cooling come into play last storm. So some people I saw said, we switched to sleet, but then we switched back to snow after when they got into another band. I saw some of those comments, and remember that sleet line is going to be advancing as our banding is organizing. So as that banding gets organizing, you're welcome, my son, Twisted. So as we see it get organized here, this is why I'm saying it's going to be a close call, because as the transfer starts happening, look, the low pressure here starts organizing. Warm air moisture, instead of getting pulled up to north here, starts getting pulled, wrapped around into here. Cold air collapses the rain snow line here, and now it becomes such a battleground zone. So it's possible in this process here, this is how in New York City you would be able to make out better. In this process here, where dynamic cooling is able to work wonders. Like this would be, it would be relative to the lift. You would need to have more lift than you see here in the dendritic growth zone. But if you were to have lift present in the dendritic growth zone here, otherwise this is sleep for sure. Because that warm nose is not going to hold off without stronger rates. But you're well enough saturated still, obviously, down to the surface. Now, if you're still having enough lift present in the dendritic growth zone as well at that time, you'll be still ripping heavy snow. So for some people, it'll be close call. Fluffy snow in central Mass for sure. Much of southern New England will be a fluffy snow. So yeah, so there's we hopefully we cleared up some of that. We'll do a couple more soundings here, and then coastal enhancement is at play as well. Here, this would not cut it. This specific sounding, that ain't gonna cut it at that point. Get some lift present here, but this is too far apart. So dendritic growth zone does drop though. So if our DGZ can, if we can get cold enough in the column here, that could allow us maybe that could allow us to potentially do a little bit better. That's one thing that to watch here is how much colder can we get in the mid levels and the upper levels. Let's see here. Oh, there's a little bit better. So this is what I'm saying. So this is actually an interesting sounding here. This is actually a very interesting sounding here. Notice you don't. This is actually very 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 interesting. So -10 does not. You don't get to -10 here until about 850. And the top of your dendritic growth zone is still though about 550. But from the middle part down, you're very well saturated, and you have a very good amount of lift present. This is very interesting. I didn't catch on to this even earlier. I didn't even catch on to this. This is a very interesting sounding here. Very, very interesting. Because you are super not well at all at the top of your dendritic growth zone here. But from the middle to bottom part of your dendritic growth zone, you get completely saturated here. And you have lift present. That's a very interesting sounding. I wonder if that's just let's take another one. Yeah, same thing. Not as much lift present on that one, but kind of that same idea where, yeah, same idea here. Look at that. -10, you don't even actually get to until about here in the lower levels. -20 up here, and then you're well saturated from the middle to the bottom part of your dendritic growth zone, and you have a lot of low level. You have a lot of low level lift present here. So there is going to be some coastal enhancement, like I talked about. I mentioned it, I think, even like 4 days ago when I first saw the setup. The wind's going to come off the ocean here. And if we were better saturated at the top of our dendritic growth zone, the potential would be a lot more interesting for sure. But again, look at this. Very, very interesting. Bottom of your dendritic growth zone here, about -10 here. Middle of your dendritic growth zone from about -12 to about -18, probably about here. And then the top, very top, about here. And you start getting well saturated from about -15 down. And you have strong lift present actually from the middle of the bottom part of your dendritic growth zone. So that will be interesting. I'll do a little bit more deep diving into that after, because what that would allow is potentially for some still decent, maybe half-inch plus per hour rates to possibly still go, even though you're still so poorly saturated at the top of your dendritic growth zone. So your eastern mass, yes, I don't like that. That is no. The difference is, look where you are in your column. You're warmer here in eastern mass. In your column here in the mid levels, plenty cold enough to snow. Not even close about that. Just -20 to -10 is here to here, and you're not well saturated. So you're snowing, but not good snow growth. So I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see how this plays out. We can continue to get a little colder in our column, or get a little bit better saturated from about 500 to 600 millibars. That could vary. That would very much be beneficial to potentially enhancing the snowfall rates after the main batch. But through the main batch, I'm not concerned whatsoever. And then into the interior, again, you're going to do fantastic. Fantastic. Super well saturated. I'm telling you, I'm not worried about this. Those are 1 to 2 inch per hour rates right there. Easy 1 to 2 inch per hour rates. Look how cold you are in the column there. Look where your dendrogrossone is. I mean, it's you're damn near 925 here. Even up here in Vermont. I mean, look at that. You're super well saturated. I mean, you're ripping 1 to 2 inch per hour rates up there. I'm telling you, interior is going to be just fine. Interior is going to be just fine. I mean, you're freaking better saturated up here in the interior than you are down here. This be interesting. Be a case of strong lift versus not greatly saturated. But when it matters the most, the soundings look very solid right now. Very solid. Thoughts on Tuesday. I don't know. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. All right. See what the euro did here. Looks like it's a little bit faster. A little bit better consolidated, maybe. Let's see. Let's zoom in here. Oh, beefy. Look at that 700. Still not as organized as like the NAM or the GFS, but still looks pretty dang good. How's 850 look? Yeah, 850 looks a little bit better, a little bit beefier. Yeah. Look at the tail at 850 you get too. Gorgeous. All right. How much QPF did we print out, Mr. Euro? Yeah, up in the QPF as well tonight. Euro follows in sweet. Still not as much, but I mean now you got a half inch of precip to 0.7 inch of QPF here. A little bit more. Oh, you all care about the I like looking at them too. I can't lie. But yeah, here's your the fun snow map. I know New York City, y'all are gonna be living on the edge. Living on the edge. You gotta hope dynamic cooling wins. You better hope dynamic cooling wins here. Jimmy Vesey. King. Isn't it strange? Massachusetts 20 hours away from the snow, but National Weather Service hasn't given anyone a winter storm warning. Yep, it is strange. I don't really have a. Again, every time I disagree with them on opinion, I don't like crapping on them or anything. It's just I just don't understand it. I'm not gonna crap on them. I don't got any reason to, but I definitely don't understand how your forecast. Change one of the two. Change one of the two. It's pretty simple. Either put out the warnings or don't. And if you don't, then you got to lower your forecast because you're not forecasting warning criteria. And there's definitely going to be 6 inches in 12 hours here based on their forecast. Like regardless of my forecast, there's going to be 6 inches based on the timing of this. There would be 6 inches in 12 hours, which is their criteria, or 8 and 24, which is going to be met probably. So if they're debating on that right now, then maybe that's why. But I don't know. All right. We got more questions for this weekend. I'll still answer them. But let's talk about beyond. All right, so again with Tuesday, Wednesday, a strung out area of vorticity here. Again, out ahead, this big old, big old southeast ridge we got here. Next Sunday's threat for NYC, we still got to go one at a time. We'll get there. We'll get there. I've been talking about that thing for a good amount, but we'll get there. Okay, and one thing is Confluence pressing pretty strong, so it seems like not a fan of Northern New England to be able to get on this, but still watching here. Very small change in the axis here. Uh, in which our convection starts to attempt to consolidate at least. It could very much change things here, especially for Southern New England. We're definitely seeing a battle of the AI versus the operationals right now. We're definitely seeing that. Um, this is the Euro. Here is the Euro AI. Much different. Much different. More reserved. Farther north as well. I mean, it has pretty much the bulk of it from New York City, and even gets some into Southern New England there. You can look at the 50 moisture map. You see that? And then the Euro, you can see completely different. Fringe focuses it on the mid-Atlantic, and clips far Southern New England. So I don't have a great feel with this. I will say though, your P-type maps are still not going to be. I would give the edge to the Euro or the GFS a little bit in terms of when it comes to when we're not sampled yet, and upper level energy still not unsure. The Euro kind of kind of have to give it. Doesn't mean it's always more right than the GFS, but it can tend to do better in some of those situations. Just because again, it is a statistically better model. Again, Euro, I'm not going to put it on the pedestal that some do, but it's statistically it is a better model, so I'll give it some credit there, even though models aren't great. Remember, they're tools. They're not forecasts. They're tools. So we got to use this information to be able to decipher. So, I'll shift the idea a little bit for Tuesday, Wednesday. I've come down a little bit in terms of initially what I thought for Tuesday, Wednesday. I initially thought, again, like I said, something's coming. We were able to pin down that the train tracks were there to set up for what's coming. Definitely, obviously, we're going to see a system. Just I'll shift my thoughts a little bit further south for who's favored. Shift it a little bit further south. I'll account for what we have. I'm not buying into this stuff though. Complete, not yet. I'm not quite buying into that, but this is kind of where I would focus for next Tuesday, Wednesday. And like I said, I think there's an opportunity for an area of like 4 to 6 plus somewhere, widespread. And then I don't know about a higher end range forecast quite yet. Not necessarily a ceiling, but I'm just talking about a general area of 4, 5, 6 plus inches of snow, like a widespread area. I think this would be. I'm not seeing major snowstorm potential quite yet with this in terms of foot plus totals. I'm not seeing that, but in my opinion, we're gonna wait closer until we get this upper level energy sampled here, and that doesn't happen until Monday, unfortunately. Some of it starts happening Sunday, but the main piece of our upper level energy doesn't come until Monday and then flies across the country. What are the odds that this rides up the coast and changes? I don't think you'll see this completely ride up the coast. I just think you would see the placement, the consolidation. You would it would just, the look would be a little bit different. You wouldn't necessarily see this now start riding up the coast, but you'd see the placement again, the orientation a little bit, maybe further northwest and then slide out if you were to see it further north. Again, I like the area that I just drew. I like that general area still of what I just drew. I think that W Prediction Center has something similar to that as well. Um, that's kind of what I think for Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not really buying any of those 1 foot plus totals that you've seen on some of those model runs quite yet. Maybe maybe some double digits are definitely are definitely possible. Some double digit totals. They're definitely possible, but not completely convinced quite yet that we're going to be able to see that. So again, appreciate everybody here in the YouTube chat. Hit the like if you don't mind as well. Sorry to shamelessly plug, as like my man Gerald says, but it is very much appreciated. And if you're an X, just keep chilling along, and appreciate everybody in there. And then we do track another one next week as well. Uh, Again, significant model disagreements as well. I'm not, later next week. I don't have a clear idea on this yet. Uh, Significant changes based on like these two are definitely going to impact each other. Definitely going to impact each other. So I am far from having a clear thought on how this plays out. We've seen some interior runs and some of the operationals. Our Euro AI has performed better than the rest. A little bit different, obviously, with both of these systems. And then after that, it's the one a lot of people are talking about, the one I've been talking about here, associated with the disruption in the flow, kind of associated with that Japan teleconnection. That'd be about 8 to 10 days out. Let's hope for the best more north. I hope you can make out pretty well too in New York City. I hope Mid Atlantic and New York City and Southern New England could get in on this. Certainly can. The orientation of the setup, because it's not going to be driving way north. Doesn't Again, it's not driving north here. That's not the setup. So we're not like hoping it stays off the coast. It's a little bit different. It's placement, timing, and strength of the upper level energy. So that comes, rides out, and see ya. But stretched out area of precipitation, elongated area, gives long time, potentially a longer duration period of snow as well. More than 12 hours. Mid-week storm ensembles are way south. New York City is out completely. The amplified theme of the winter. I don't think New York City's out completely. And if you're following the models for what they show right now, this time plus a day, models were showing this storm being a cutter or an inland runner. Warm nose was up to here. About 5 days out with this system. You guys got to be careful not to take every single storm. Even though there's tea leaves, like I said, there's for overall patterns ashore for when it comes to winter. Every individual setup is different. Every individual setup is different. So the energy is not even on shore yet, and it won't be for a couple days. So I really, would use caution, trying to get, too high or low with this. Just kind of let it play out. I mean, like, what reason do you have, like, other than like to, like, try to feel good about the comeback of the models changing? Well, what reason do you have? Say it's going to happen or not quite yet. There's no really no reason to do that. Just kind of sit, wait, be patient, see what models do. It's a bunch of model noise. That's what it is right now. They're gonna work themselves out. You just gotta kind of gotta be patient with it. Still 4 or 5 days out. That's the reality. And this is way out, way out. And then we do the fun with that. Mucho. Fantastico. Telling you, that's that Japan teleconnection I've been talking about. It's under 100 hours. All right, that's great. It's under 100 hours. I mean, depends on what model you look at as well. Like, is that like? So I'm not like trying to sound disrespectful. I'm just like the point verbatim. I really don't care. I have no interest in trying to attack or like prove a point to anybody, personally. Just yeah, just whatever the information is. I'm sincerely just responding to the information. It sincerely just doesn't matter. Euro AI says it's 108 hours out. All right. Well, what about 4 days from now? Where will the models be then? All ensembles. Okay, great. Models change. Like I like models change. I do not like if we all listen to what the model showed for every single specific storm, like four plus days out, we you know how much crap meteorologists would get. It's like this is like it's just no reason. All right, that's great. You're describing what's the operational model runs are showing now. Sincerely, I'm not gonna change my overall thoughts because of how the models change. I mean, I have too. I've shifted my thoughts south. So like it's not like originally I thought places further north up here would have a chance. I'm shifting it to like the down here basically, cutting off half of southern New England. This is kind of the area I'm watching. That's great. Ensembles follow the operational as well. I like it though. Like that's just what happens. Ensemble, yeah. The ensembles are always going to follow the operational, almost always. Whatever the operational did, the changes in the atmosphere that happened, they're going to follow the same thing. I always like to say, just because you're getting closer to the event, it doesn't mean you're getting a better idea. Always like it just doesn't. The latest model run is not the greatest model run. But there's too much value put into some of these. Just like it's meteorology, it's not modelology for a reason. Wrong about what? It hasn't happened yet. How am I wrong? It hasn't happened yet. So it's right now it's just an objective opinion. It's not an objective fact though. These are just my thoughts. You're right. I very well might be wrong, Joseph. I might be wrong, but these are my thoughts. Listen, I'm sorry you haven't got a lot of snow this year, but I'm not gonna base my forecast off the 4+ day GFS in European. What was I going to look at? All right, that's right, panels. I stick to my process. It doesn't matter the storm, whatever. I stick to my process, and I get pretty confident in it. Operationals follow the ensembles, not the other way around. I mean, it's the chicken or the egg. It's definitely that's not that's a chicken or the egg thing. It's semantics. My thoughts are my thoughts. I mean, that's really it. It's fine if you disagree. I got plenty of people that disagree with my thoughts, but yeah, good night to you, my man. Hopefully you get a good amount of snow. I have a process, a way of doing things, and what you see now, 4 days out, is not going to be what you see 4 days from now on models. I just feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Like, I mean, you've been around the two kind of like enough storms now to kind of get that idea, like how I do things. I think, Joseph. So what you see now on model is not going to be what you get. The amount of storms, man. 4 days out. You know the amount of systems I wish 4 days out that what models show that we could get. Oh, tons. It's like the ensemble meet is actually south with Thursday. Well, that's fine. Well, hey, I like that. I like more when people press my thoughts because it allows me to go more and explain. It's fine if he's quite insistent. I like that. Drastically changed within 4 days. Do I remember a system? There are so many I can't even name you one like off the top. Actually, sure. Um, the blizzard of 2015 was out to sea 4 days out. Like this is not. I'm not comparing systems like this. I'm just saying like you want models. I could rattle off so many. February 13th, 2024, last year, where models had 20 inches of snow for some people that ended up with an inch or two. That was about 3 days out, honestly. It was about three and a half. Let's see, January 2022, two systems back to back the same week, actually. Um, one was out. It's again not the same. I'm not comparing systems. I'm just rattling off systems, within 4 days that changed a lot. January 2022, first or second week of January. First week of January, back-to-back storms, one in the mid-Atlantic and then another in the Northeast. Both of those ended up producing double-digit snowfall. Gosh, there's so many. Is trying to wrap my head around. March 2017, that blizzard, that was initially supposed to be like a coastal scraper, and then that turned into a full-on interior storm, basically. Uh, d- d- uh, March 2018, around March 21st, that was initially supposed to be like 8 to 12, like into up here. I know it's harder to see. That was supposed to be like 8 to 12 in here, and that turned into it shifted like 150 miles. That was like 3 days out. I barely got anything out of that one. Oh man, there's so many, so many. I think you get the point, kind of. I could keep rattling off trying to go through the to many. No, it's fine. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and then like to be confident in your thoughts. It's always fine. It just gives me an opportunity to express mine. Joseph is I've had plenty of good interactions with him, so I don't got any any anything to be combative or anything. Anybody that comes in and watches me, Joseph has been nothing but nice before, so seems like a most part pretty chill dude. I assume so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know my man Joseph. I know he's from Long Island, so I'm hoping he can get some good snow coming up here though for sure. Pick every year. Oh, we're testing my memory here. Post concussion can kind of change the memory a little bit, but let's see here. 2023, we didn't really have a lot of storms to do that. Let's see, we did 2022, 2021. We had the February Super Bowl storm. That changed a good amount. That like windshield wiper. I hope it rains in Long Island. Stop it, Western Mass. Stop it. Play nice. Play nice. Let's see. January 2021 is that February the Super Bowl storm. I remember like that was like the night before. I remember models were completely like offshore with it. Basically, this year the theme has been to de-amplify and weaken the system as we get closer. Yeah, but not every system's the same. Even if we just did that, like regardless of right or wrong, it doesn't matter. If it's gonna rain tomorrow. I mean, maybe in Long Island some, yeah. It's actually you're probably gonna see more snow and sleet tomorrow in Long Island. I don't think you're gonna actually see. I don't think so, at least. I think you stay all snow or mix in Long Island. Let me look here. Nam's like the strongest warm nose. Oh, you may. It's possible. Could end as rain in Long Island. That'd be more Sunday. Snow, sleet, Rich White. No, he's not a troll. I've had Joseph in plenty of YouTubes. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, you're getting snow, mix, and rain tomorrow. 1 to 3. Yeah, that's pretty close to what I think. One to three with like more of a 3 to 6 ceiling there in Western Long Island. That's what I said for earlier. That's kind of where I'm at right now. See, let's peep some of these ensembles here. So we peep the Euro ensembles. Panels. Oh, I wanted this. No, surface. Winter. 2 day. Oh, so there's the Euro ensembles. Obviously, a little bit less from like 12Z today, for example, right? A little bit further south, and you've seen that, over the past over the past day, a little bit further south. But you can see that general area still between the Euro ensembles here to here with the most in here. How did I get a concussion? Just don't get hit in the head. That's all I gotta say. Won't go too much farther. Just don't get hit in the head, and then you won't get a concussion. That's my best advice. What do I think about Nantucket, Jeremy? Oh, actually, I haven't even looked. Oh yeah, no, Joseph, I wasn't taking anything. I wasn't taking anything. I really like it actually more when people like start, pressing against, my thoughts more, because then I got to go deeper to try to make, a clearer explain my thoughts. I do it anyways all the time. You're obviously, not a troll, um, Joseph. We've had plenty of good interactions on here, so for especially for anybody that's clearly not a troll and that has like difference of opinion, I love being able to kind of go back and forth a little bit and explain where I'm coming from, and try to explain my point of view, not necessarily uh, for you to agree, but just to you know at least understand this is why I'm thinking what I'm thinking, and I'm wrong all the time, so I'm wrong every time. Question is how wrong. No, I didn't think you came off as mean. I think others thought you were. It's fine. No, no, you're you're not. It's fine. No, you're good, my man. Nantucket. So Nantucket gets a front end thump tomorrow. Again, remember further southeast places, further southeast. I mean, it's gonna rip in Nantucket, like all of Eastern Mass. It's gonna rip. You'll rip moderate to heavy snow there in Nantucket. I think you should be able to get at least several inches in Nantucket. At least be able, at least be able to get several inches. I don't know why it doesn't show anything there. What about now? There you go. That's close. That'd be close call right there. Maybe dynamic cooling could help you win out there. But you'll go from snow in Nantucket. You go from snow to sleet and you'll finish as rain as the low pressure um, starts moving overhead. We have more soundings here. Yeah, that's a solid sounding right there. I mean, look at that. I mean, look how it's in friggin' Nantucket still. You're very wrong. 75 degrees and storms tomorrow. Chat, ban 'em. I was gonna put you in timeout, Twisted, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to remove it right away, so I was just gonna troll you. uh, all right, thank you. Let's go. Very excited. Yeah, you should be able to get some snow out of this. You should at least at a minimum, I think, be able to get like 1 to 3 inches out of this tomorrow. And then if you're lucky, maybe you can get like 3 to 6. Let's take a look here. HRR is really cool. That would be thumping. You'll be close too. You'll be close with that sleet line. So you may mix some snow and sleet at some point as well too. You might go back and forth for an hour or two, possibly with sleet and mix. Um, I always say as a reminder, if you do switch to sleet, guys, if you do switch to sleet, measure measure the sleet still, add it up. It does count to your seasonal. So especially for those that measure the seasonal snowfall total, keep measuring the sleet. Even if it compacts it more, then then you still have that original total of snowfall that you got. But if it starts adding up, especially if you've been snowing, you clear your board. That's what you're supposed to do after like 6 to 8, 12 hours, whenever you decide after. But you do have to wait at least 6 hours before you can clear your snowboard. That's how they recommend that you do it. They recommend every 6 hours you do it on a snowboard, you clear it, and then whatever. That's their official. It doesn't really. Some people wait the whole storm, they measure it. Others, clear it like every 12, every 8. It's whatever. But you can count sleep. So if you do, oh, that's total. I know. Whoa. The Jeffs are freaking still out of their damn mind. Look at that, man. The Jeffs are still out of their freaking mind with these totals. Absurd. Oh, Euro is too. No, don't do that. We'll see. Actually, it's not quite as high. Still pretty ridiculous. Honestly, sleet stays around longer. We get a good base now for snowpack. Hopefully, the snow hole is filled in NYC by the end of February. Even if you guys don't get jackpotted for a storm, I think you'll be able to. You should be able to accumulate enough like front end thumps and even if slop, enough snow over time so that you can kind of still at least have a decent February. And even then, I think, I mean, New York City, you don't love the trends on models over the past day, but you got to follow very closely. I mean, think about it. It was this time tomorrow. It was this time tomorrow. Like, what was it? 18Z this time yesterday. Freaking the GFS was way north with this thing. The GFS had this thing freaking like maxing out in southern New England, basically. Like last like 18Z yesterday. So uh, you're going to see different orientation with how the models, uh, place the storm next week, early next week, and then we have another one after that. So yeah, so one thing is a good point. Does brought up. Joseph is I'll say is one thing models do like to do though is correct a little bit. We're starting to get in the range now. It's a little bit different of a setup as well from others, but it's more so with like storms showing like far like inland runners is more so, and we're not quite dealing with the same thing here. Like the storms that are showing like the inland runners with depressing cold air and strong high pressure, those are the ones where you're like, okay, you'll probably see models adjust a little bit more to at least be more interior solution. And then after that, again, remember, so Thursday, Friday, we'll have another chance, and then here on Sunday night, looks like that's when that hopefully that Japan teleconnection is going to kick in. Which seems like a little bit more disagreement actually from this run, but starting to kind of converge on that idea. And obviously Euro AI is picking up on that as well. Actually, not too far off. Look at that, Euro AI, OZ Euro Ensemble, not too far off. But Euro AI is, man, that would be an all timer. Where is this storm heading? Are you? Which one? GM weather supporter. Which one? There's a lot of different there's a lot of different storms here. I'm intrigued by around the 16th and 17th. Yeah, so am I. Yeah, that's that Japan teleconnection I was talking about. I'm gonna keep calling it the Japan storm. It's not really, but just the disruption in the flow. That's what it is, and it's the exit latitude region. Allows for a little bit more potentially, in layman's terms, a wavier flow. That's the best way I can describe it. Storm number one this weekend. Is heading for southern New England. So, let's see, get a general idea. I'll zoom in. Storm number one, U.S. regions. Oh, switch to. It's like Euro Ensemble up in the QPF as well, which we like to see. General idea. Here to here. Double maxima, 5 to 10. Catskills. Double 5 to 10 plus maxima here. That's kind of the idea for this. Again, I'll show you for those that wonder. Oh wait, let me go see how much about the QPF. Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely a little bit for sure. See if we can get the euro to up the QPF. Again, we're kind of like this in that it's a completely different setup, but I will say similar in terms of QPF being a little bit lower on the euro. Although this time a little bit different. The NAM, which had a lower QPF, which was with the euro last time, has a higher QPF as well. One and a half. So, but here's what I was talking about. What do I mean? Some of you are still maybe confused, possibly. What is the Japan teleconnection? What is this? What is this Japanese that you speak of, Brady? Their Japanese connection here, right here. Western Pacific. East Asia is what I want. I'm gonna go back to Monday. You all remember this big Japan snowstorm that happened here. So this is a big Japan storm that happened here in North Asia, here in Northeast Asia. So we had this big storm that happened out here and produced like 35 inches or 34 freaking inches of snow or something. And it was like 33.8, whatever, something ridiculous in like 6 hours and like 4 feet in like 12 hours. So like this ridiculous system here. And Northeast Asia here, but especially specifically Japan, remember it's this exit latitude region for the area. Oftentimes, you see the teleconnection associated here. Yeah, typically it's around 10 to 15 days out is what happens there is a lot of times you look for that to be associated what's going to happen in the northeastern US as well. So a lot of times you can associate that teleconnection here with this part of the country. And so we oftentimes see that in that disruption in the flow. And as you can note, I like Weather Bell better. So I'm going to go back. I feel like the resolution on Weather Bell is so much better now. Once I've gotten used to it. Although Tibbetts is great, but load's a little faster as well. That disruption in the flow now, look at that strong vort that drops in there. That disruption in the flow, regardless of specifics. I think that I don't like the idea. I like this a little bit better. Strong disruption in the flow there, and you can see now we're talking about a dynamic low pressure system. So that's the idea, I think, during this time, and there could be even another one after as well, I think. You can see the Euro demonstrate that in showing all out freaking snowstorm here as well. So multiple opportunities potentially, but at least one, um, you know, big chance here for a significant snowstorm. And one of those, dynamic, low pressure systems. And anytime you get that in February, you're always talking about, big winter storm potential. Which is what has me pretty intrigued. So yeah, so that's like that general idea again for this time frame that um, a good chance for there to be a pretty dynamic system. Next Sunday night, Sunday, whatever. I won't say the night, but somewhere around the 16th, 17th ish. Fingers crossed. Yeah, you're not guaranteed all snow for sure, but rather have the opportunity at least. All right, where are we gonna go here? Back to the Euro ensemble. Yeah, you can see it. Look at that potential there. There are some biggies. There are some big freaking runs there. The colorful GFS 59 inches. Yeah, I think I posted like one of those in this pattern. Actually, I don't even know if I posted. Did I? Oh, I posted. Yeah, I posted one as hashtag new profile pic. Wasn't actually my profile pic, but I did like did one meme. So no, that's it. So haven't really haven't posted any of those long range snowfall maps really. Just the ensemble ones. And again, I tried explaining to some people that those are not the same thing as even remotely close to those, but did not matter for some. It's fine. Yeah, still gonna be a pretty big. Still gonna be a pretty big mean here. Still absurd. Even after this storm here, there's still gonna be a massive mean. You took away today's. This is still like a 14, 15-inch mean for a lot of people. This is a 10. This is a like a 10 to 18-inch mean even after tomorrow's storm. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Get some a lot of you guys do like when I share the personal stuff with here. So I live um uh here, right around here-ish, right about a little bit further south, somewhere in here, just southeast of Worcester. So that's where I reside. Is it possible that sleep might push further back south? Absolutely. I think it's. I'll probably do. Um, I'll probably do a 1 to 4, a 3 to 6, and a 5 to 10. Is what I'll probably do. I don't. I know you. A lot of people really dislike it when you don't contour them to like 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9. And people say like you're making it easier on yourself. But like there's some places where like I'm forecasting something and like I don't want to change my forecast for the map. So whatever I think your forecast is, like I'm gonna do my damn best to make sure that that forecast is shown in the map. Like if I think your forecast is 6 to 12, or if I think your forecast is like 4 to 8, for example, but I think you're forecasted like 6 or 7, I'm not gonna put you in like a 3 to 6 inch range then if I think you're probably at the higher end of like a 4 to 8 inch forecast, and that's where I'm leaning. Like I don't want to put you, in a 3 to 6, if your ceiling is like 12 inches then, for example. So that's just a more of a me thing. That's how I like to make the snow maps. Whatever I'm forecasting for you is kind of how I like to do it. Um, so yeah, so I get some pushback on that, but I don't mind getting pushback on that because I'm pretty firm on my thoughts, and I'm just literally trying to forecast it the best I can. Also I'm freaking, I'm putting out a map for the whole freaking like Northeast and much of the Mid Atlantic as well. Sorry, I still have DC cut off on my maps. I'll have to add in DC at some point. We've expanded we've expanded too much, like, but for now it's stays like that. But sorry, DC. Right now I cut off my maps like here. So I do everybody else. I forecast My snow maps are right now whole area here. Forecast this whole area in the snow maps. And the expectation is, and rightfully so, I'm glad I have the expectation, is that out of this whole area, I nail this dude. I nail Mike's backyard. Sorry, I don't know if we have. I don't know if a Mike in Trenton follows me or not. I was just using an example, but that's the expectation is that if I forecast, for example, like it's a I put a 6 to 10, and Mike gets 5 inches. A lot of times, Mike is going to send me a message saying you screwed up my forecast, and it's like, dude, you were 1 inch off. It's like, I'm sorry. I tried forecasting, and sometimes rightfully so, I screw the pooch, and full rightly deserve criticism. But I mean, I'm forecasting this whole freaking area here. I mean, I'm trying. I'm trying. You think I want to get this wrong? I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get this right here. Anytime there's a storm, there are two things that equally weigh on me in terms of concern. It's how much snow can I get, and the other is my map. And oftentimes, I will care more a lot of times about verifying my map than actually making sure that my backyard gets the snow. Because I like being right for all of you. So it's tricky a lot of times to nail these, and oftentimes too you see it a lot with a lot of storms. Models, like, even when they agree, it ends up not being like what happens. Like it's just not ends up being what happens. Even when models agree, it's just funny. Like, think about how all the like there was disagreement, and then like the night before with the January 19th, January 20th, that didn't fully bust. By the way, that storm didn't fully bust. It definitely wasn't, I would say, a bust of a storm, but it was the lower end range of totals than what was being depicted on models. It was lower than what models were showing. Now, remember, models are tools; they're not the forecast. So a lot of people base it. Well, the GFS showed 15, 16 inches of snow. I got 5 inches. That's a bust. No, 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 no. Models are not the forecast, and that's what people mistake. The people make the forecast. Models are tools, and you got to use them to make the forecast. And that's a big problem we have talking to people and relaying that message. So you got to be able to have the fine line of what the models are showing and what information to take from that, for example. Very fine line between that. There's a very fine line. So yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky forecasting these things. I honestly forget what I was saying right before then. I'll blame concussion again. But it was a long time ago, so always can blame it on that. Sometimes the science doesn't come into fruition. Oh yeah, here's what I was going to say. Yes, Alex. What was I going to say? Is, for example, January 19th, January 20th, models were starting to agree. Even that Euro the night before, the NAM the night before, were all agreeing like it was going to be like 8 to 12 inches of snow. And the GFS was still like showing 13, like it was showing like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 inches. Even like the 060 runs. And sure enough, about storm happened 12 hours later, and boom, that was pretty more of a 4 to 8 inch storm with like 2 to 5 in New York City and Long Island versus more 4 to 8, 8 to 12. See, I was 6 to 12 and 4 to 8. New York City, I called for 3 to 6, 4 to 8, and then here I called for about more 6 to 12. I went back and forth 5 to 10, 6 to 12 with my map, but I went with 6 to 12. I thought it was a good shot the banding would come together, and Missed a little bit. I didn't miss so bad really, but missed a little bit. My last question is how did you get concussion? Because I had one 2 years ago. Memory was horrendous after, and now I can't do math. Like I said, I got hit in the head by an object. I got hit in the head by an object. Blacked out, and yeah, a while ago. It's like October, a long time ago. About 4 months ago. So yeah, I forecasted, by the way. I was forecasting a lot of hurricanes and even snowstorms in the beginning of this winter. Still relatively concussed, so maybe you can give me a little bit of a break on some of those. December, actually, I did pretty well in December. Oh no, I had the one in December. Yeah, we had our one. Screw the pooch. What was that? December 21st. See, this let's see, January 21st, December 21st, January 20th. That means what? February 20th, 21st. There's going to be something to it, maybe. Is there anything to that? Possibly, possibly, maybe. But yeah, that's how. That is how I got concussed. I got hit by an object in the head, coming at a fast rate of speed. Oh, GFS. Boy, Lord, Lord. Crazy. That mean is still. What freaking storm has happened on one of these panels that made it go that? Oh, that one. Panel number 9. Look at that. Panel 9, absolutely. Oh, the things I would do for number 9. And 26. 26, 9. Oh, 30. Do a Oprah, just, pick an ensemble, any ensemble. Oh, 13. And that's for next weekend. GFS has a good amount of solid hits here, especially you're into New England, upper Northeast. A lot of good hits. That's for next Thursday, Friday. But Canadian. Let's take a peek at these Canadian panel members. Let's take a look at the mean first. Let's see. Everything changed after mine. I think you were trying to say, to be honest. I had absolute zero time management directly afterward. Passed out in the shower, slammed my head on the tub. That's that's unfortunate, Alex. Yeah, they're not fun. I don't recommend concussions. I don't recommend trying them. They're not fun. If you were planning on trying to get a concussion, don't recommend it. don't recommend it. So yeah, Canadian staying about the same. It's actually like squeezing it more. Still though, 0.5, 0.7 inches of QPF. Really favoring the elevations here. Interesting. We'll see if the Canadian can take a win there. Canadian's been really struggling lately. Really struggling. Seems like the Canadian nailed the January 20th storm in the medium range, first one to pick up on it. But then once it got into the short range, man, ever since then, it felt like the Canadian has been playing catch up. That's what it's felt like. All right. What'd you do here, Canadian? What'd you do? right. Bit of mixed mid-Atlantic, some New York City to southern New England. Well, it's a good mix of it's a good mix. Seems like there's a lot of spread is what I see. A lot of spread on the Canadian for next Tuesday, Wednesday. The Canadian is stuck in Canada. Its brain might be. Honestly, the Canadian has a freaking better signal for. It has better agreement for the storm after than it does the one before. Look at that. It's slamming southern and central New England and even some with New York City. Every run. And then boom, yeah, it's picking up on it. Starting to pick up on it now. And then yeah, and more after for sure. It's a little. I would say I don't have as great of a feel for after that, but I think I have a pretty good feel, just in general, of how the next 10ish days are gonna play out. Not necessarily specifics, but storms, whether or not they're coming, and more general details. I wonder if the Shrefs new mean came out 21Z. Here's the Shrefs. Here's the NAM ensemble means basically, and you can see they are very much pretty juiced. You can see how much they amped up from 15 to 21Z. So the same we saw from 18 to OZ, and look what they did. Up in the QPF significantly. I mean, up by almost like a quarter inch for some places. You can see up in the snow down there by the city as well. Really going to be such a close call. The difference between 1 and 6 inches in New York City is it's going to be a small. It's going to be a slim margin, man. It's a slim margin. Could not be a more populated area too. For the area of most uncertainty, could not be a more populated area. Which oh is going to make my mentions after the storm just so much fun when I messed that part of the forecast up. Oh, fantastic! Oh, come on, all confidence. We're gonna do relatively okay with the forecast. That's the idea. Northeastern PA too. I'm telling you, just because the tricky part with this weekend is again that warm nose how it advances, and then once that line stops, I'm telling you, just north thumps, thumps. Just north of that line is going to see 5, 6 plus inches of snow likely, and then just to the south, it could be a 10, 15 mile difference, like 10, 20 mile difference between someone seeing 8 inches of snow and 2 inches of snow. And so it is going to be a very, very thin margin for a lot of people. Northeastern PA, Hudson Valley, New York City, North Jersey, maybe even coastal, some places on coastal Connecticut, far southwestern Connecticut, Long Island. There's going to be some close call. Even Nantucket, too, could go back and forth between dynamic cooling and with sleet and snow. So it is push at the time reserver. Nope, not happening with this one probably. So it's going to be a very, very close call. Yeah, with that sleet line tomorrow night. So there's no maneuvering around it. I have my thoughts. I'm going to stick with that with the 1 to 3, 3 to 6 idea. 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 6 ceiling. New York City, North Jersey, Long Island. But I would say central to eastern Long Island, I would say more of a 2 to 5 is what I would say. That's kind of where I would go for now. All right. Yeah. Store season today. This is all going to change. 36 from hours from now. This is going to change a good amount for a lot of people in southern New England. You're going to see a lot of people we'll see a lot more those light aquas on the map probably after this storm. They're in southern New England, so that will be good. That will be good into northeastern PA as well, Hudson Valley, all the way up the River Valley. I mean, into the Capital District, and should be able to up the seasonal snowfall a bit. Again, I'm personally 21.3 inches of snow on the season. Saw 1.2 inches last storm. Yes, upstate New York. 284 point 0.8 inches somewhere in upstate New York, up there by Tug Hill. Somewhere up in Tug Hill has seen nearly 300 inches of snow this winter, which is that's fun, isn't it? Yeah. If we zoom out even more, you want to get the full picture. The eastern U.S. That's kind of what it looks like. Yes, New Orleans has more snow than than uh than Central Jersey, South Jersey. There's the full picture. It's a wild snow map meme where basically the whole country is pretty much covered in snow, other than a strip there in the mid South. But sorry, the deep South, the Dixie Alley, not the mid South. It's impressive. I think it's been a pretty decent winter in my opinion. I know snow. I think snowfall wise, I know it hasn't been a lot of big freaking snowstorms, and hasn't been, no, we haven't had major snowstorms, but I think it's been an overall decent winter. We've had pretty good cold in place, below average cold, and also we've had like a good amount of snow events as well, like a lot of good minor snow events. And I don't know, for me, like I think it's been a decent winter, at least personally. I know like snow. I know that sounds you know uh like a completely glass half full, but they've been some fun, like some really fun late night snow events, that perform pretty well and verify. So it's been a decent winter. What do you think the reasoning behind the snow hole in NYC slash Southern Jersey is? Um, Mother Nature said no. That's the only reason I can come up with for you. Mother Nature said no. That's basically it. Just not the right setup. So you got to think about it. North Jersey, remember, had that thanks post Thanksgiving snowstorm, I think, or like December 1st or whatever. North Jersey, northeastern PA, Hudson Valley had that snowstorm. Then frickin' we had December 5th, like extra clipper in southern New England that produced a widespread 3 to 6, and then an area of 3 to 6 across a lot of central, some of eastern Mass, a lot of pretty much all of central Mass and western Mass and northeastern Connecticut, northern Rhode Island. We had the Mid Atlantic storm January 6th, and then January 20th, 21st we had the the we kind of reeled it in at the last second. The northwest trend. You want to talk about someone? You had asked Alex, what was it? 4 days out, January, December 20th, 21st. Models were completely out to sea, and then Boston ends up getting 7 inches of snow. So that was that. Nice little where we had the ocean enhancement with that one. We've had all the lake effect snow in the upstate New York region. January 20th, 21st. Then again close margins again, stronger stream connection. Maybe New York ends up getting 5-6 inches of snow there versus 3 to 4. And then even in that one, southern New England made out better, and because they were more favored. How much for NYC coming up here? Currently leaning more 1 to 3 in New York City, but your more boom scenario is 3 to 6. You can boom 3 to 6 for this weekend in New York City. Also, do I consider Weather Underground accurate? I mean, they just input the weather model data. So no, the temperatures, yes, I love using weather. I love their temperature contour map that you use. They have all the different stations, and you can look at them. But I do not look at I really don't look at the weather. I haven't looked at weather apps for a forecast in like years, other than like like a not for I mean for like a storm. I look at the temperature. I still look at that. Yes, I use a weather app to look at temperatures. I'm sorry. What's the current temperature? That's basically it. Even that though, I'm usually more checking Weather Underground. I'm checking the current. I'm finding the weather station. It says 4 inches for Great Kill Station tomorrow. Yeah, it's this. I mean, it's just they're doing like the GFS and like Euro, not ensemble, but like they do some sort of like method with those operational models, and then that's their forecast. There's really no great rhyme or reason to those. No, go back. There we go. Pretty colors. Pretty colors. Yeah, it's still a. Oh no. Still crazy. At least this winter isn't bad as 2022. We mean 2023. 2022 was a pretty good winter. I think you mean 2023. I think. It's 2022 was that was the blizzard of 2022, and then you should do these with severe weather potential in the spring or summer. Yeah, probably will more. By that point, we'll probably be monetized on YouTube, especially if February is going to work out pretty good. Yes, Unk is still live, Twisted. 2020, 2023. Yeah. Yeah, we probably will, Twisted. We do it for hurricanes. We do it we did it some. We did it some for severe weather. The only thing is with severe weather is there's a really strong niche out there for really good analysis, and that's what I pride myself on. And I'm not, um, and I'm not as I'm not offering more to the table. I guess maybe personality wise, but I'm not offering more to the table in terms of analysis. Like the niche I have here for winter, I feel like there's not as many people that do what I do for winter as opposed to severe weather. So, we can do this, and ideally, we can, build up our following good enough as well, especially on YouTube. Um, everybody knows that I'm not the severe weather guy, but here on YouTube, we can build enough to where we can still provide, pretty high level analysis and be able to, pick apart what's going on. But it's tricky. It's tricky a little bit, but yeah, we're definitely going to be we're at least going to be doing more with severe weather for sure. So this upcoming, there will be more, uh, there'll be more content associated with that. At least more definitely more videos and premieres, and for maybe the big stuff live streams. I'm probably not going to do the thing where you hop on and you break down all the tornado warnings. There are enough people that do that. Just there's that has gotten so saturated now, and there's nothing I'm going to do to offer to compete more than other people with that. But yeah, I also too like especially when I'm going to storm chase. I'm also going to be breaking this stuff down as well. So we'll be have oppor- we'll I'll get opportunities to storm chase this spring and summer as well, which I'm excited about that for sure. There's our all of our means. Every model with a 20 plus inch mean over my house over the next 14 days. Yippee! Be such a satisfying feeling to watch my severe weather coverage. Oh, I don't know if that's what you're saying, but if so, thank you. No, I'm not going to sell myself short too much. I mean, I do offer pretty good. We do some pretty good severe weather analysis. Especially more specifically, for Northeast. But yeah, I do pretty good. That I'm definitely not as good at hurricane as I am at winter, or I'm just not as high up, winter as I am with hurricane. But we do pretty good hurricane stuff as well. Pretty good analysis, breaking that stuff down, and relaying my thoughts. But I feel like there's just a different aspect to winter too. You got to remember, it's completely different. Like you're able to build up such excitement for winter without like any fear of people's stuff. Like the thing with severe weather and hurricanes is, you can't forecast those and be get excited about them really. Like it's a different, like even though we do get excited over you know tornadoes, and not as many people really excited about hurricanes because the widespread damage that gets on. It's fascinating for sure. It's super amazing, and it's enjoyable to track and cover as well. But the effects that happen from those are just completely different versus winter. It's snow stacking up, and sometimes there's some extreme impacts, and you don't wish those. But it's snow. It's not it's not 150-mile-per-hour winds. There's a big difference. The difference that happens. So I feel like there's just a different aspect with that when you're able to forecast, and there's a much different vibe for winter weather lovers than severe weather and hurricanes. So some people don't even hide it with hurricanes. They just straight out flat, waiting for that. It's amazing. Not even hiding it. Just yeah. It's like I mean, somebody's gonna get hit by that. Right? It's not. It's got to go somewhere. It's not like you don't want to see the 185-mile-per-hour hurricane happen. It's like that. That EF4 tornado you're chasing. It's got to go somewhere. So it's like it's like as cool it is, and it's for me more so. It's like the tornado's gonna happen. So if I'm chasing it, I want to see it. That's how I view it. But I never really want to see. I never want to see significant tornado, damage somebody's home. I mean, that's somebody's later working their whole lives for that, and especially the threat for danger and death. So I feel like that's pretty obvious, but it's just a different aspect with forecasting, tracking winter weather. There's more to it, but we have done some severe weather coverage here. Go way back in the archives here. Let's go way back in the archives. Those are the blizzard reanalysis right there. A lot of hurricane streams. Oh, look at that. Maybe I didn't. I swear I thought I did. Didn't I do a severe weather? Here we go. I did. Dixie Alley tornado outbreak breakdown. So we did do a live stream on that. A lot of hurricane live streams. Obviously a lot of winter ones. This was the 2023 big snowstorm we had here. More interior, but I got a lot of live streams here on YouTube over the past couple of years, and there's plenty to back in the archives if you go back. Videos too. We got a lot of those. There we go. There's severe weather. We got some severe weather coverage here. We got some severe weather. It's the Bassfield tornado loop back to back. Oh man, don't look at that. It's OG BGWX, the blizzard 2020 snowstorm. It's their hurricane season forecast way back. We got a lot of deep content in there. Yeah, I even had a Hurricane Dorian. That's probably like my first upload. That's maybe one of my first uploads right there. A lot dumber then than I am now, for sure. That was you remember that October snowstorm we had? October 30th, 2020? That one. Looks like I didn't do well there. I ended up with 7.5 inches of snow, so I know that didn't verify. That overperformed. Here's the radar loop of the Springfield EF3 tornado. This is really the benchmark, the modern day benchmark for tornadoes right here. This is the benchmark. I live here. I remember being in my basement, had no clue what was going on. I had no clue what was going on. The velocity loop right there with the EF3. Look at the debris ball on that. The damage was just so significant. And then one right behind it as well. The debris ball there. Amazing. right? That's where I am. I'm chilling, right? Freaking, I'm like right here. That's where I am. I'm chilling here, thinking that waiting for this thing to come. So worried. Luckily, I got caught into the inflow of the cell above, so it kind of faded. You can see the rotation, but I mean that thing was right there. EF3 tornado. I think maybe EF2 at that point, but massive debris ball. I mean, look how close this thing was to me. EF3 tornado, about 10, 15 miles away. And then another one comes in behind it as well, back to back. This was another one. I think it was EF1 or low end EF2, strong EF1, low end EF2 tornado. January, June 1st, 2011, part of the historic 2011 tornado season there. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of content. You know, we got a lot of content up there. There's maybe this one didn't age out too well, but I was definitely not alone on that for sure. Lake effect, the lake effect storms. I always appreciate if you want to all if there one way any of y'all wonder how you can help is always you check out the lake effect ones. I always put the description in the link to the live streams for those. I still leave them up in there. I post them after. This was I mean some these two I'm telling you they took some editing, multiple days of editing to kind of put these together. So some of my finer editing work put on display here. Like a chronological, you know, an idea. There's a little bit of meteorology in there too, breaking down some lake effect snow soundings. I believe. Um, so there's some pretty good knowledge thrown in there as long as, you know, storm chase. So yeah, we got tons of content in here. The shorts too. Thunder, look at the thunder snow from Watertown. I would, I, if that happened 12 hours earlier, I would have saw it. Or 12 hours later, was it? Whatever. I was 12 hours off. Cloud to ground lightning strike. This was the December 2020 band right here. 4 inches on the hour. I think just over 4 inches on the hour. But it was about like it was like 2 inches in 20 minutes, I think, or something like that. I mean, just so many freaking dendrites falling out of the sky. Right? They're not these like massive. Um, they're not the big fat flakes, but there were perfect dendrites. Perfect dendrites. This was the band that did 4 feet of snow within like 40 to 48 from like Binghamton to like almost Maine. Absurd snowfall rates. This was part of my storm chase in Adams, New York. This was earlier this year. Look at those flakes, man. How fat those things. I mean, those are just gorgeous. I'm gonna get too much heavier than that. There's actually some grapple mix in it too in this one. This was from the slow mo from earlier this year. Little slow mo, love playing around with the camera. Music overlapped over that, so we got a lot of good stuff. Remember the aurora we had? This was my first time seeing the aurora like this as well. We've had some fun different kinds of weather. 2024, 2025. 2021 Vermont chase. I do storm chase as well, by the way. Here's the rotating funnel here. Here's the lightning. You can see inflow coming in here. Weather's fun. We've had some good content. This is my lake effect snow chase from 14 months ago. Last year, not this winter. In like 8 to 10 hours, we saw like a foot of snow. So thumped while I was there. 13 inches, I think, in about like 8 to 10 hours. So yeah, we've had some good weather memories for sure. Only thing I haven't seen that's happened, but I've either been asleep or just missing it is thunder snow. Yet I've yet to like visibly see thunder snow. Yeah, I don't know why the HR keeps doing this with the warm nose here. It's like overshooting it into freaking like mass, and it's like just like actually not even. It's like not even close to sleep. I don't know why it's showing that. It's not even close. You can kind of disregard that for this. Don't lie in the soundings. It's not good snow growth, but that's not sleet. Unavailable, of course it is. Of course you are. When are you going to be available? Thumping, baby. How well saturated you are, too. Fantastic. You're super well saturated on these soundings. Don't matter where you go. Not even an issue. Still 1 a.m. here. How about 2 a.m.? Not great, but still very well. Very well still at 2 a.m. Fantastic. I'm loving what we're seeing here. That's fantastic. Small at the top of the dendritic, but you have plenty of lift present. I mean, well, these are great. It's still 2 a.m. Let's see. We'll go to 3 here. A little bit more. A little bit more on that. But NYC does good on this run, do they? That's a fantastic sounding. Look at that. Northern Mass border here. Look at that. It's fantastic. Oh, look at that. Right there, right over this is right over my house. Look at this. Top of the dendritic growth zone. Not great, but look about here. Still, dew point depression, still not terrible. Great lift. That's still a solid snow sounding right there, even though the top of the desert growth zone is not. NYC, you're right. NYC does do great. I don't know. I don't trust the HRR, and I mean, yeah, that would be the sounding doesn't lie on this. This is classic. The saturation from the top, classic. All the way from down. Thunder snow is possible tomorrow as well. Oh, oh, you'd be thumping. You would thump on this run, NYC. Yeah, you would see 4 or 5 inches of snow. You would see 2 inch per hour rates here. You're still thumping. NYC would see a half a foot of snow. That's your ceiling. That's how you do it. And then you probably sleep. Yeah. Then you sleep. Even then, that's pretty close to frickin' being all snow. That's not too far off. Oh, it finishes. Let's go to 3K. U.S. regions. Let's see. Can I get QPF first? Actually, he has like more QPF and yeah, it has more QPF overall. Not done yet either. See what it does. Yeah, look at that. I was spot on. HR half a foot of snow. I don't know about this. It's trying to split it up. I don't know about that, but seems like HR maybe overdoing a little bit there. We'll see though. We'll see. Let's see. Why does the HRR show 17 inches of snow in New Hampshire? It's not good snow growth quite yet. There we go. It's better. It's still solid. It's interesting how some of these are better saturated further up north. That's a gorgeous snow sounding. Yeah, yeah. Much better saturated further north. Look at that. This is why the interior is going to make out just fine. The interior is going to make out just fine. I think it's because the upper. I think it's because the upper level energy is moving overhead. I think that's the biggest reason. Look what you're doing at 500 here at that time. Upper level. Pretty sure that's just why that's why you start. I mean, look what happens here. Upper level energy starts moving overhead at this time. So like places here better located, you're gonna be better saturated at 500 to 600. But you need to see your stronger lift make up for that, or also just get colder in the column as well. So the more we can kind of keep our storm amplified and continue to sink the upper level energy, I think the better. Well, it's coming in pretty soon, so you're not gonna. It's less about the models, but still like looking at them. Get a decent idea. So yeah, all right. Let's call it there. This was probably our longest stream in the winter, maybe. So this was fantastic time. Always the night before streams. Love doing this. So we'll make sure we try to find time. I can't promise because the storm's happening, but I'll do my best to find time tomorrow. Maybe even do it before the storm stream. Might maybe do that. We can do like an afternoon stream possibly. So until then, appreciate you everybody. Hit that like if you haven't on your way out in YouTube. Appreciate it.